The doctor's memories. When I was a child, I wanted to help people. I saw doctors in white coats. They looked important. They saved lives. I told my mother one day I will be a doctor. She smiled and said, "You must work hard." I studied every day. I read many books. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to understand how the body works. I wanted to know why people get sick. I asked many questions. My teacher said, "You are very curious." I like to learn new things. It made me excited. In school, I loved science. I learned about the human body. I learned how the heart beats. I learned how we breathe. It was amazing. I wanted to understand more. I read books about medicine. I watched doctors on TV. I wanted to be like them. My friends played outside. They ran and laughed. But I stayed inside. I studied. I wanted to be the best. My mother said, "Go play." But I said, "I want to learn." Years passed. I studied at a big university. It was not easy. The books were heavy. The tests were hard. Some nights, I did not sleep. I worked in hospitals. I saw sick people. Some were in pain. Some were scared. I wanted to help them. I wanted to make them better. I watched older doctors. They were fast. They knew what to do. I wanted to be like them. I followed them. I listened to their words. I learned from them. One day, I helped an old man. He had trouble breathing. He could not talk well. His hands were cold. His face was pale. I gave him oxygen. I held his hand. I said, "You will be okay." His face changed. He looked better. He smiled. He said, "Thank you, doctor." That moment was special. I felt proud. I knew I was in the right place. I knew I made the right choice. I worked in many hospitals. I met many patients. I helped them. Some had small problems. Some had big problems. I gave medicine. I gave hope. Their smiles made me strong. Their words gave me energy. I wanted to do more. I wanted to save more lives. I wanted to be the best doctor. But then, something happened. My father became sick. He was strong before. He never needed a doctor. But now he was weak. He could not walk well. He could not eat much. He slept a lot. He looked tired. I looked at him. I felt afraid. I was a doctor, but I was also his son. I wanted to help him, but I was scared. I did not want to lose him. I told myself, I must be strong. But inside, I was worried. I did not know what to do. I took my father to the hospital. I told the doctors, "Please help him." They asked many questions. They checked his heart. They checked his lungs. They did tests. I watched them carefully. I wanted to believe everything would be fine, but deep inside I was afraid. I had seen many sick people. I had helped many patients. But this was different. This was my father. Days passed. My father stayed in the hospital. I sat beside him. I held his hand. He looked at me and smiled. He said, "Do not worry." But I could see the pain in his eyes. He was weak. He could not eat much. He spoke slowly. I wanted to do something. I wanted to make him strong again. But I knew that medicine takes time. I told myself, "Be patient." The doctors gave him medicine. They said, "He needs rest." I watched the nurses. They took care of him. They changed his sheets. They gave him food. They checked his temperature. I knew they were doing their best, but it was hard for me to just watch. I wanted to help. I wanted to do more, but I was not his doctor. I was his son. Every night I stayed with him. I listened to his breathing. I checked his pulse. I watched the machines. I knew what the numbers meant. I knew what the medicine did. But I still felt helpless. I thought about my patients. I thought about the people I had saved. I had always felt strong. I had always known what to do. But now I was not sure. One day my father looked at me. He said, "You are a good doctor." His voice was soft. His eyes were warm. I smiled, but inside I felt pain. I wanted to hear him say, "I feel better." But he did not say that. He just looked at me with love. I held his hand. I said, "You will be fine." I wanted to believe my own words. I wanted to be sure. More days passed. My father stayed in bed. He was tired. He slept a lot. Sometimes he did not talk much. I brought him books. I told him stories. I wanted to make him happy. I wanted to make him laugh. But I saw the worry in his eyes. I knew he was trying to be strong for me, and I was trying to be strong for him. I woke up early every day. I went to the hospital. I sat next to my father. I held his hand. I asked him, "How do you feel?" He always said, "I am fine." But I knew he was not fine. His voice was weak. His hands were cold. His face looked tired. I tried to smile. I did not want him to see my worry. I wanted to be strong for him. The doctors came to check on him. They looked at the test results. They spoke in low voices. I listened carefully. They said, "He needs more time." I wanted a better answer. I wanted to hear, "He is getting better." But they did not say that. I asked many questions. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to help. But this time I was not the doctor. I was just a son. I sat by his bed. I read books to him. I told him about my work. I told him about my patients. He listened. He smiled. He said, "You are a good doctor." His words made me proud. But I wanted to hear him say, "I feel better." I wanted to see him walk again. I wanted to see him eat well. But he was still weak. At night, I watched him sleep. I checked his breathing. I looked at the machines. The numbers were the same. Nothing was worse, but nothing was better. I closed my eyes. I thought about my past. I thought about my childhood. My father was always strong. He worked hard. He took care of me. And now he was in bed. He needed me. But I did not know how to help him. One day I brought him outside. I pushed his wheelchair. The sun was bright. The sky was blue. He looked at the trees. He smiled. He said, "It feels good to be outside." I was happy to see him smile. I wanted him to feel normal again. I wanted him to believe that he could be strong again. I said, "You will walk again soon." He nodded, but his eyes showed doubt. More days passed. He still needed help. He still needed medicine. But I did not give up. I stayed with him. I talked to him. I helped him eat. I told myself, "He will get better." I wanted to believe it. I had to believe it. I was a doctor. I had saved so many lives. And now, I needed to save his. Every morning I sat beside my father. I watched him wake up slowly. He moved his hands carefully. He looked at me and smiled. I asked, "Did you sleep well?" He always said yes, but I knew he did not sleep well. He woke up many times during the night. He coughed. He turned in bed. He was uncomfortable, but he did not complain. He did not want me to worry. The nurses came to check him. They asked him questions. They gave him medicine. They wrote notes in their papers. I watched them. I wanted to know every detail. I wanted to understand his progress. They said, "He is stable." I wanted to hear more. I wanted to hear he is getting better. But they did not say that. I tried to stay positive. I tried to be patient. In the afternoon, I took him outside again. The air was fresh. The sun was warm. He looked at the flowers in the garden. He said, "It is beautiful here." I smiled. I wanted him to enjoy the moment. I wanted him to feel happy. I pushed his wheelchair slowly. I talked to him. I told him stories from the hospital. He listened. He laughed a little. I loved hearing his laughter. At night, I sat in his room. I watched him eat. He ate very little. I asked, "Do you want more?" He shook his head. I wished I could make him stronger. I wished I could do more. But I knew I had to be patient. I had to wait. I had to believe that time would help him heal. I told myself, he will recover. One evening, he looked at me. He said, "You work too hard. You need rest." I smiled. I said, "I am fine," but I knew I was tired. I had not slept well for many days. But I did not care. My father was more important. I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to take care of him, just like he had taken care of me when I was a child. More days passed. I watched him closely. I checked his pulse. I looked at his face. Some days, he looked better. Some days he looked tired. But he never gave up. He kept trying. And I stayed with him. I held his hand. I talked to him. I gave him hope. Because I believed he would get better. Because I needed him to get better. Days turned into weeks. I spent every moment with my father. I watched his every move. I noticed small changes. Some days he sat up longer. Some days he ate a little more. These small things gave me hope. I told myself, he is getting better. But I was still afraid. I wanted to see big changes. I wanted to see him walk again. I wanted him to be strong like before. One morning he looked at me and said, "I want to try walking." His voice was soft but determined. I felt a mix of emotions. I was happy, but I was also scared. I knew he was still weak. I did not want him to fall. But I smiled and said, "Okay, let's try." I helped him sit up. I held his arm. Slowly, he put his feet on the floor. He stood up, shaking. He took one small step, then another. My heart was racing. He was walking. He sat back down after a few steps. He was tired, but he was smiling. I felt tears in my eyes. I said, "You did it." He nodded. "I will try again tomorrow," he said. I held his hand. "Yes, you will," I whispered. At that moment, I felt something change. I felt real hope. For the first time in weeks, I believed he would recover. The doctors saw his progress. They were happy. They said, "He is improving." Those words felt like music to my ears. The nurses smiled at him. They encouraged him. He tried walking every day. He was slow, but he did not stop. He pushed himself. He wanted to be strong again. I admired his courage. He never gave up. One evening, we sat outside. The sky was orange and pink. The air was cool. My father looked at me. He said, "You have taken good care of me." I smiled. "You took care of me first," I said. He laughed softly. He reached for my hand. "I am proud of you," he said. I felt warmth in my heart. Those words meant everything to me. I watched him closely. He still needed rest. He still needed medicine. But he was better than before. I knew he was on the right path. I knew he would be okay. I told myself, this is why I became a doctor. I wanted to help people. I wanted to give them hope. And now I was giving hope to the person I loved the most. More time passed. My father kept trying. He walked more. He ate more. He talked more. The hospital was not his home anymore. He was getting ready to leave. I felt relief. I felt happiness. I had spent years saving lives. But this time, saving my father's life meant everything. The day finally came. My father was ready to leave the hospital. The doctors said, "He can go home now." I felt happiness in my heart. I had waited for this moment. I had dreamed about it. My father smiled at me. He was still weak, but he was stronger than before. He said, "Let's go home." Those words felt like magic. They felt like victory. I helped him into the car. He looked outside the window. The city was busy. People walked fast. Cars moved quickly. Life outside the hospital felt different. It felt normal. My father took a deep breath. "Fresh air," he said. I laughed. "Yes, fresh air," I said. I knew he had missed the outside world. He had missed home. When we arrived home, I helped him inside. He sat in his favorite chair. He looked around. "I miss this place," he said. I smiled. "This place missed you too," I said. My mother brought him tea. He held the warm cup in his hands. He took a sip. He closed his eyes. "Perfect," he whispered. I could see the peace in his face. He was home. The days passed. My father walked more. He moved slowly, but he did not stop. He sat in the garden. He enjoyed the sun. He read books. He listened to music. He talked to my mother. He laughed with me. Every little thing felt special. Every small moment felt important. I watched him carefully. I saw his strength return. One afternoon, he called me. "Come here," he said. I sat next to him. He looked at me with warm eyes. "You have been a great son," he said, "and a great doctor." I felt my heart grow warm. "I just did what you taught me," I said. He smiled. "You saved me," he whispered. I held his hand. "You saved yourself," I said. I thought about my journey. I had saved many lives. I had seen many patients recover. But this was different. This was personal. I had fought for my father's life. I had stayed with him every day. I had believed in him when he was weak, and now he was strong again. I knew I would never forget this experience. More time passed. My father became himself again. He walked without help. He ate well. He laughed often. I looked at him and felt proud. He had won his battle, and I had learned something important. Being a doctor is not just about medicine. It is about hope. It is about love. It is about never giving up. I sat with my father in the garden. The sky was blue. The birds sang. He looked at me and said, "You are a good man." I smiled. "I had a great teacher," I said. He laughed. We sat there in silence, enjoying the moment. I felt peace. I felt happiness. My father was here. He was alive. And that was all that mattered. Thank you all for your time and attention today. I hope you found the lecture insightful. Take care, and I look forward to our next session.